The dealership model has been essential in shaping the American automotive industry as we know it, but GM CEO Mary Barra has finally had enough. After years of speculation, General Motors is getting rid of dealers for good, and we've got the scoop on it. The daring CEO of GM has her eyes dead set on switching the company over to a direct-to-consumer model, similar to what Tesla has experienced immense success with. As you might have already guessed, this move would be a seismic shift in the auto industry, and it will turn it upside down, potentially shaking the long-held dominance of dealerships and ushering in a new era of car buying. But why the drastic change, and why now? For one, GM, like many traditional automakers, faces the challenge of adapting to the rapidly evolving automotive landscape around them. There are new kids in town, electric vehicles are steadily gaining traction day by day, and Tesla's success with its direct-to-consumer model suggests it might be a better fit for this new wave of technology. Dealerships, with their traditional focus on selling as many vehicles as they can and servicing the ones they have already sold, might not be equipped to handle the pressure and are slowly but surely running out of time. Furthermore, the relationship between dealerships and automakers has become increasingly strained in recent years following the pandemic. In the past, profit margins for dealerships used to be razor thin, leading them to prioritize high-volume sales over customer satisfaction. Things have gotten worse in the past few years, with dealers marking up prices of new models through the roof, which has led to severe backlash from car enthusiasts who have found it incredibly frustrating for having to sometimes pay twice the MSRP to get their hands on desirable models. By cutting out the middleman, GM hopes to streamline the buying process, potentially offering more competitive pricing and a more transparent experience to the buyers, thus preventing them from turning towards other brands to purchase their brand new ride. All this may seem and sound good, but from what we've seen, the road to a direct-to-consumer future for GM won't be smooth sailing. Transitioning a giant corporation like GM away from a well-established dealer network that they have relied on for nearly a century will be a logistical nightmare. Existing dealerships likely won't go down without a fight, with legal battles and political lobbying a certain possibility. Think about all the sales personnel who would lose their jobs if this goes through. And what about the infrastructure that the dealerships are based upon? What about servicing and repairing vehicles under the manufacturer's warranty? In addition to all this, GM will need to invest heavily in building its own infrastructure for online sales, customer service, and potentially even delivery and service centers. Just think about the costs of all that. The impact on consumers in switching to this model of sale also remains to be seen. While some might certainly find the convenience of buying a car while sitting at home and the potentially lower prices attractive, the lack of a physical dealership might take away the test driving experience and the personalized touch that some car buyers value above anything else. Not only that, but concerns regarding maintenance and after-sales service need to be addressed as well. Will GM establish its own service centers, or will it partner with existing repair shops? The company CEO hasn't clarified all the details yet, so we'll have to eagerly await her next announcement to figure out everything else. Beyond the immediate impact on the dealerships themselves, the potential ramifications of this shift are immense. If GM's direct-to-consumer model proves successful, it could trigger a domino effect within the auto industry, with other major automakers being forced to follow suit, leading to a significant decline in the number of dealerships across the country. This could have a ripple effect on local economies, potentially resulting in job losses and changes in the overall car buying landscape, as we have already touched upon. The history of GM's relationship with its dealers runs back to the early days of the automobile. This long-standing partnership has been mutually beneficial to both the automaker and the local dealership itself. You see, dealerships provide crucial local market knowledge and sales expertise that are essential to grab hold of the market in a particular area, while General Motors invested in manufacturing and product development. A shift to a direct-to-consumer model would bring an abrupt end to this decade-long relationship and necessitate a fundamental restructuring of this relationship. This shock announcement from Mary Barra comes at a crucial time for GM, with Chevrolet having recently gone through severe criticism for their troubled Blazer EV. This fiasco exposed a multitude of problems that raised serious questions about GM's quality control and commitment to electric vehicles, and exposed how unprepared their national dealer network was at handling issues like this. Early adopters who eagerly awaited the Blazer EV were met with a litany of issues, from software glitches to hardware malfunctions. These problems weren't minor inconveniences. They ranged from unresponsive infotainment screens and flickering displays to more critical issues like operable charging systems and even complete electrical failures, leaving drivers stranded. The timing of the Blazer EV debacle couldn't have been worse. General Motors, a traditional leader in the automotive industry, was already struggling to establish itself as a serious contender in the rapidly growing electric vehicle market. Tesla, on the other hand, with its established brand and loyal following, has been dominating the conversation as usual. The botched launch of the Blazer EV not only eroded customer confidence in Chevrolet, but also raised questions about GM's overall commitment to putting out a quality product. In response to the crisis, GM was forced to issue a stop sale order on the Blazer EV to address the software issues with a promised update. This move, while necessary, further damaged consumer confidence and left a bitter taste in the mouths of early adopters who had taken a chance on the new electric vehicle. The shock announcement of a potential shift to a direct-to-consumer model lands squarely on the heels of the Blazer EV debacle. While the long-term implications of this move remain to be seen, it's clear that GM needs to rebuild trust with its dealer network and the public at large. Otherwise, they risk facing the same situation they faced back in 2009 following the recession in 2008. The GM dealership closures of 2009 were a harsh consequence of the financial crisis and sent shockwaves through the industry. While the immediate impact was on the affected dealerships and their employees, it also foreshadowed a potential future for GM's relationship with its dealers in the face of a direct-to-consumer model if they didn't play their cards right. The decision to shutter dealerships was a drastic measure, but it reflected the desperate state of GM at the time. The company was hemorrhaging money and its market share was plummeting. The oversaturation of dealerships, a legacy of past success, was seen as a major contributor to the financial woes. With fewer dealers selling fewer cars, profits became razor-thin and the company was forced to take drastic action in the way that they did. Eliminating dealerships, however, wasn't just a financial decision back in 2009. It was a strategic one, foreshadowing a potential shift in how GM interacted with customers. The seeds were planted for what we have now come to know as the direct-to-consumer model, long a distant possibility at the time, and it began to take shape as a way to streamline operations and potentially improve profit margins. But don't be fooled thinking the GM will hesitate to take a stand like this in 2024 as well. The most recent example is the Buick dealer buyout program that was announced back in December, where the company announced that they would be buying out 1,000 Buick dealerships across the nation who have opted out of selling their shiny new EVs. This will cut down on the number of Buick dealerships across the United States by 47%. And it is estimated that these buyouts will cost General Motors nearly $1 billion throughout the rest of the year. This might be the first step in a larger buyout strategy across the rest of GM's brands and dealership network. But why start with Buick? You see, Buick is one of the few U.S. automakers who still do not offer any EVs in their lineup, which mainly consists of crossovers and SUVs aimed at the affordable to mid-range markets. However, the brand does have some hybrid offerings under its belt in China, but there are no current plans to bring these models stateside. Since the pandemic came to an end, the brand has been struggling to gain its foothold back, selling less than 104,000 vehicles in the whole of 2022. This is a drastic downfall from years prior, with the sales figures exceeding the 200,000 mark in both 2018 and 2019. It wouldn't surprise us if Buick becomes the first brand under the GM umbrella to move to the direct-to-consumer model, given that the dealerships are closing up by the minute. But Mary Barra has to be careful in ensuring the correct infrastructure is in place before putting all her eggs in this basket. Take Tesla, for example. They have one of the best direct-to-consumer models in the auto industry we have seen to date, with a seamless online experience, a network of company-owned service centers across the world, and a robust mobile app for managing everything from scheduling appointments to tracking software updates that are on the way. However, even Tesla has faced challenges with after-sales service, particularly when demand surges upwards and their service network struggles to keep pace. If GM follows suit, they'll need to learn from these mistakes endured by the biggest players in this space and ensure that their own direct-to-consumer infrastructure can handle not only the sale of new vehicles, but also be efficient and widespread in after-sale support to compete effectively in today's booming automotive market. There's no question that the shift to a direct-to-consumer model would be beneficial for the future of GM, but it carries an equally high risk too. What do you think about this? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.